If microservice has to persist some data, it should have its own database. Hello friends, today we'll discuss database per microservices pattern. In microservices is considered a very good practice, and it comes as a surprise to the people who are used to old way of doing things. In old time we are used to have a central database and multiple apps, multiple monoliths are using this database, and now come to this new environment microservices where each microservice has to have its own database for persistence. While there's a wide acceptance of microservices advantages, there's still some debate about this aspect of centralized database versus each service owning its database. There's some debates. Today we'll discuss what are the benefits of this approach and what are the advantages. If you are doing microservices or if you are using microservices architecture pattern, does it make sense that each microservice has to have its own database? What are the advantages? So let's first see in microservices a word. Suppose there is a patient information service. So it has to have its own database. If it is using all the central based databases, you could lose the benefit of microservices. What is the benefit of microservices? The benefit of microservices is they are loosely coupled independent services which can be deployed and scaled independently. So when you're talking about deployed independently, if you are using central database where multiple applications are using that, so you are increasing the risk that it can affect all the other applications. Then you are giving away the benefit of microservices if you are using a central database. So let's say you need some additional fields for the patient, for this patient information. So if you own the database, it's easy for you to modify the schema, add more fields, more informations, and deploy into the production. You don't have to worry about other services. If other services need this information, then you have to think about the data replication strategy, how you can push this information to other databases. Other advantage of microservices is that each service can have its own database technology. So relational databases are very good for transaction kind of data. Where there are NoSQL databases, these NoSQL databases are good for hierarchical information of data, and there are column-based data which are good for decision support system. If you are looking for some data warehouse, they are very good. And also you can use big data for unstructured. So each microservice owner team can decide which database technology they can use. So if you are using central database, you have to use whatever the technology that central database is going. So this is one of the huge benefit of each microservices owning its own database. So when they are owning their own database, this database can be different technology, this database can be different technology. So let's come, what are the different patterns of the database per service. So there are multiple ways you can ensure that each service is using its own database. One way is like you can have payment service is using payment database. Diagnosis services is using diagnosis table. Patient information services is using patient information table. So you can define tables, you can have some user ID and give access to these tables and make sure these services are using their own tables. Another way is schema per microservices. Schema is another nice way of grouping these tables. That way, setting up permissions at the schema level would be easier. So you can have a schema for payments. You can have a schema for patient information service, and make sure that they don't cross over. Another thing is, if one microservices needs some data from other services, either this microservices can expose that data to other services. For example, if patient info needs some diagnosis information, it can call diagnosis microservices. So third pattern, so we discussed tables per service, schema per service, and the third pattern of this pattern is database server per service. The benefit of the database per server is you can have different database technology, relational database, NoSQL, column-based database like, for example, Vertica, or big database. So what are the benefits of this approach? The benefits of database per scheme is you get the advantages of microservices. Like microservices should be loosely coupled. You should be able to deploy independently and scale it in the production. The idea is whenever you are moving your applications, whole IT doesn't have to be on the call, and it should not risk the overall operation of the whole organization. So if you have a database which is affecting only with this microservices, the risk are less, deployment is easier, and as we discussed, we can use different database technology. So what are the costs? The costs are different database technologies. Two-phase commit is not possible, and that is not issue with this pattern that comes with the microservices. You cannot implement two-phase commit with microservices, so you cannot have two-phase database transaction commit even with this pattern. So you have to use Saga for your to maintain the consistency of the data. If you're wondering what is Saga, I have some additional videos about Saga. Do check out those videos. So friends, thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, like it, share it, and subscribe to this channel for your regular updates. Also connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter, especially LinkedIn. If you like small summaries of the video, I will be posting a lot of small summaries of the video on LinkedIn. Thank again.